Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we will be looking at tier list for support immortals, and as you can see I have already put out some B tier and A tier for you guys, so we don't have to spend a lot of time going on with the whole list, but I'm gonna go through them really quick, and then after that I will put out an S tier and S plus tier, and also at the end of this video I will be putting a best support for value tier as well. So hang on in this video, enjoy watching and enjoy my explanations. As you can see on the screen, I already put out B tier and A tier immortals. And for B tier, I put out Dido, which in my opinion is very outdated. It's not that good anymore, and I think you should skip. I would even put her in the collectible because she's definitely not useful. As for the A tier, Cyrus, I think Cyrus is a very good immortal, especially during the early stage of the game in the fire team. Although he is not very flexible to other teams, but in a fire team, early to mid game, I think he's very strong, and the CC that he provides, I think that is very good for your early game. As for the late game, I think it's time for you to maybe swap her out or swap him out, because in the later game, when people have, more skills and more immortals, I think the CC become a little bit useless for him. But yeah, in the early game, in the mid game, I think he's definitely worth it. That's why I put him in the A tier. Artemisia, same with Cyrus. I think Artemisia is a relatively new immortal. Nobody have been playing with her character for that long, and those who have been playing with her have said to me that she works pretty good, and also her energy regen is pretty good as well. Although she fits better for Margaret support, she can do well for Merlin as well because of the shield. And yeah, I think she's definitely worth taking a look at. She's basically replacing Dido as a water support in my opinion, and you should definitely be looking at her character if you want to go with the water team, especially during the early and mid game stage. You can easily obtain her fragments from the golden path as well, so if you want to go max her out, do it there. The only problem in my opinion is the artifact, but I don't think her artifact doesn't really matter that much. And also another one here, we have Tomiris. Tomiris is actually pretty good. If she were in the full shadow, I would definitely put her above, Matilda, but in my opinion, Tomiris is very niche. She is niche to only shadow March, although she can sometimes be good in other matches, like maybe what we had before was somebody was running full holy with Tomiris and Theodora backline, right? That was something pretty good back then, but nowadays she is, reduced to solely working on Shadow March, and in Shadow March she's very strong. So that's why I put in an A tier. Some people might put in an S tier, but in my opinion, there are much better immortals than Tomiris for support. The next one is Zenobia. Zenobia is, in my opinion, a very good support, very reliable in the Earth March. She's doing the work. If you can get artifact, which you can now by grinding the Mysterium, I think you can get her to be really, really strong, and especially the early game, mid game, if you can't get Theodora or you're working on Theodora for your March, I think Zenobia is very good for you, and she's solely free to play, and I really recommend her for your March because one of the strongest March in the game, especially the early game, is the hybrid March, and she's one of these immortals that you need for that March. And her healing is, I would say, it's a little bit questionable sometimes. It's not that much, but when she does heal, she heals pretty well. She gives very good buff from that as well. And Our first A tier immortal, number 1 in this A tier, is Matilda. Matilda, in my opinion, is very good immortal and very flexible. I think the only reason why people doesn't use her more is because of her, she don't have any sustainability. She's just one of these support that, buff your team, gives energy regen, gives your damage. So that is very good. She works really well in the PvE aspect of the game against spiders, against bosses. She's very, very strong. Against in PvP, it's a little bit niche here, but I still think she's very strong there as well if you can use her properly. But, this is one of the, I would say, one of the reasons why people are not using them. These immortals that you see on the screen right now is because I don't think they can perform in the current meta. I know Matilda was in the meta for a brief time a couple months ago, but that immortal that she was in the March release got nerfed. Then, in my opinion, she fell down to A tier again, and in my opinion, that's where she belongs. And I think if you want to go for her during the early game, you definitely can, but it's not the one that you should focus on the first. Now let's take a look at our first S tier immortal. It will be King Emperor. Very, very good immortal in my opinion, and he is very flexible. He works best in the physical march, but he can do well in mage marches as well, especially if you want to counter healing marches like, Theodora, Fu-Fei, Ninetales. He can counter them pretty well, and also, best of all, he's free to play, he's easy to grind for, and you can get his artifact very easily throughout the Mysterium, and you have the spider, like the server-wide spider event as well. You can get him from there, which in my opinion is very good for him. And yeah, basically he's very flexible. If you want to use him in hybrid march, that's one of the best marches early game and late game as well. Now on to the next S tier immortal. It will be Ninetales. I would put Ninetales as an best S tier immortal. I know people think she might be the S plus tier. In my opinion, she's overrated. She is supposed to be very good, supposed to be the better version of Theodora. In my opinion, she isn't all that, right? I've tested her personally, and I've seen and fought against her for a month now, and in my opinion, it's very underwhelming. She should have been better in terms of the cleansing. She's the only immortals that can cleanse bite from Poseidon, and still she doesn't even do that properly. I don't know if this is a bug with the game or whatever the IK devs decide to do, but with over 150 energy regen and stuff like that, she should be able to cleanse bite more often. She's basically the counter to Poseidon, but even though she counters Poseidon, Poseidon's still gonna bite and do damage over time regularly, right? So in my opinion, she's very overrated, and that's the only reason why I put her at S tier. So now let's take a look at our two S plus tier immortals, one of them being Theodora and another one being Fu-Fei. In my opinion, this is the ranking that I would go for when it comes to support. Fu-Fei number 1, Theodora number 2, Ninetales number 3, King Emperor number 4. This is how I would rank them as top 4. And the reason why I put Theodora above Ninetales is because she's much better in my opinion. I think when I tested them next to each other, I think Theodora performed way better than Ninetales. That's why I put her at S plus tier alongside with Fu-Fei. I think those two work better together than Wu-Fei and Ninetales, but that's my opinion. Of course, you see the biggest whales, they use Ninetales and Wu-Fei, but that's because they want to use the full chaos for more power. And I know the ultimate of Ninetales, as I explained it earlier, is supposed to cleanse damage over time and stuff like that, right? The same thing as Theodora does, but Theodora just do it better or still as good but healing better, and I think that is more valuable than the Ninetales. So yeah, that's why she is Espas tier. And for Fu-Fei, I need to explain her. I had a video, everything you need to know about the Immortal, about Fu-Fei. That was a couple weeks or months ago. And if you go watch that about her, and I think you know why I will put her in S plus tier. I've been using her for a couple months, and in my opinion, and I think a lot of people will think like me as well, she is the best Chaos Immortal in the game. And in my opinion, there's nobody close yet, but I believe there will be eventually. But for now, she is the best Chaos Immortal. She can do a lot of stuff that that makes us don't have to use certain skills, like for example the fighting master, when she gives CC immunity to all of the immortals in the team, which in my opinion that's very OP. Then you don't have to put fighting master on everyone or at all in the team. And of course she heals pretty well. It's not like OP healing. I still think Theodora has the best healing in the game, but the healing of Wu-Fei is still pretty strong. And if you want to go for the Chaos Immortal, your first Chaos Immortal should be Wu-Fei anytime, any day of the week, months, year. I would recommend her to be your first Chaos Immortal, and because she is the best support in the game and probably one of the best Immortal in the whole game. Now let's take a look at the best valued tier list for me. In my opinion, you can see here I bumped up some Immortals up one tier like Matilda and Zenobia, and also King Emperor. The reason why I did that because they are very good for the value. Matilda is very good if you want to go PvE aspect of the game, like against spiders, against bosses. She currently is doing decently, pretty well in PvP as well, which in my opinion makes her pretty good for the value. The only part where she you might struggle to get is the artifact, which can be quite important, but it's not necessarily. So that's the only reason why I put an S tier. Zenobia, very good immortal in the early and mid game. She might fall off in the late game where you probably will be able to get Theodora by then. You can replace Zenobia replace Zenobia with Theodora. And Zenobia is very easy to grind. Her artifact is very easy to grind as well. Her fragments in the market pops up quite often. That's why I put her in S tier. And Ninetales, like I said I explained it during the tier list explanations, and I think she is overrated in terms of value and money wise, because I wouldn't pay $2,000 or $3,000 just to get her maxed out with artifact and also with specializations. Like, she's still good. Keep in mind, she's still very good, but in my opinion, the value is not there. I don't see it personally. I've tested her firsthand, and she's doing great, but she's not doing what's supposed to do, right? What she's supposed to do. That's good. So yeah, that's why I put an S tier, but very low S tier. Probably some people might be putting her as S plus tier, but I would go as far as I would probably put her in A tier as well if she wasn't Chaos. but she's chaos, and you know the value for chaos immortals is there. I think she's definitely gonna be an S tier for me. As for the S plus tier, I bumped up the King Emperor. I think she is very good. Oh, sorry, he is very good. He is very good value, very easy to get immortal fragments, artifact as well. I like it very much, and you know he is very flexible in terms of value wise. He's up there among the best value in this game in terms of like if you want to use him in every single match, how easy to get. He's up there. Theodora, quite easy to get as well. Best value support before any chaos. She was definitely the best. Nobody can compete with her. And the value wise, her artifact might be a struggle, but if you keep doing the Sparkle Galaxy and while you're getting her fragments, you get her artifact as well. And now that you can keep doing because of your specializations, you will not regret doing her because she is very OP. Her healing is great, probably the best in the game. Her energy regen is a little bit too low, but in my opinion, still gonna perform very well. She can replace, you know, Zenobia in the late game, and she can replace a lot of immortals as well. If you don't wanna go for Ninetales, Theodora is still gonna perform very well. In my opinion, the best support value, although it's gonna be costly, Wu Fei is definitely the way to go. She's gonna cost you a couple $1,000s, but in my opinion, the value is there. She is definitely the best one among all the chaos in terms of value. She's the best one, best support in the game by far. And yeah, I don't have words how to describe her other than you should get her if you can. She's gonna be game changer for you no matter what team you run, which team you run, like lightning, fire, wind, no matter what team, she's gonna be performing at the high level for you. So that's why I put her there. In terms of value wise, yes, expensive. Some of you might even put her back here, but in my opinion, she's gonna be the number one anyway. I know it sounds biased because I have her, but she is a game changer for me. And after I got her, I never peaked in my power before. Like I always been like top 20 player in my own server, but when I got her, it bumped me out to possibly be a top 10, top 15, top 10 players, and I think that's one of the reasons why I ranked her there. So yeah, that's basically the support value ranking for this video. I have done 2 parts. If you want to go back and take a look at explanation for the actual support tier list ranking, you can do that. And this is also, scroll a little bit back, you can see the value ranking for support as well. So that's my opinion. If you guys share the same opinion, please give it a like, give us a view, give us some subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. If you have different opinion, have different view, please let me know in the comment section. See what I say, or my opinion might be different from yours. That's understandable, and I would like to discuss it with you guys and see what you guys can teach me, because I never stop learning about the new Immortals and how people want to play this game, because everybody plays differently, so you might rank each stuff differently. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.